What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Braden Timmons Show. Happy Saturday. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic weekend so far, wherever you guys are, East Coast, West Coast, in the middle of the country. I hope that you guys are all doing well. Today is going to be a very fun episode. This is, I think, my first interview I've ever done on this show with another filmmaker. So I'm super excited to introduce Chris Maes, who is the filmmaker behind a new feature film called Airshift. And I've got the actress with me, Ashlee Lawhorn. How's it going, guys?
Going good. Thanks for
Great.
having us, Braden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and welcome into the show. I'm so glad to have you guys on here. I know that we've been trying to get this set up here for a little while and everything. So glad that we were able to make this work. With this, I really just want to kind of keep this conversational and talk about Chris. I want to know what your idea was behind Airshift. Ashley, I want to know how you got involved with this and really explain, like, if you guys can, where you guys got your filmmaking background and actor background and all that stuff. I think that this is going to be good insight for people to know, so that way we can get more people in the industry as well.
Absolutely.
So it's great to have you guys here today. Where are you guys at currently within the country?
So I'm actually in Northern Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C.
Yep, and I am currently in Chicago right now.
Great. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So you're in the Midwest and then you're on the East Coast. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's amazing. Looks like that we've got some people coming in here chat wise. So this is awesome. We got Ashton Luck in the house. What's going on, Ashton? How are you doing, buddy? We got
Hey.
Gory watching. Byron, how are you? Malice, what's going on? And
Nice.
if you guys know any of these people too here, then that's great. If they're in here,
Yeah, I know
watching.
one. We got no two. There
There
are
we
two.
go. All right. Couple
Great,
in there.
awesome, Elizabeth, and then yeah, we got a Brett man here from Good Real Hunting, another great group of guys as well. And before we move forward with anything else, I got to give a shout out to the channel members and to our Patreons. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do for the channel. You guys are absolutely outstanding. You guys keep a lot of stuff here going. So thankful for everyone that supports the show and the channel. You guys can become channel members just by going down to the description and joining if you guys would like to. Speaking of channel members, we got one of our channel members in here, Davey Deathray. Happy Saturday. Make sure to hit that like button, all that stuff. Exactly. Thank you, Davey. Okay. So who wants to go first, question wise? I've got a list of them here.
All right. Ashley, you want to start?
I was gonna say you, Chris. You're
Oh, all right.
the man, the myth, the legend with the idea here.
All right.
So
I'll try to be brief.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Chris, you're the writer, director, and producer, right? I'm not. You did all three of those. You wore all those hats, right?
Yes. Yes. I probably didn't expect to wear the producer's hat as much. I sort of had ambitions of another person helping me with that, but that became necessary.
Yeah. Well, hey, and sometimes that's what it takes, right? To get
Right.
to get
Yeah.
independent features off the ground or whatnot. So, Chris, the first question for you is I got to ask, what is the origin of Airship? So, how did you conceive, the idea of, a radio station during a final shift becoming like a horrific kind of situation? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I've always been interested in radio DJs, disc jockeys, as kind of like unsung heroes of society because they're on the air communicating with audience members. We often don't know what they look like. We just know their voice. And I thought, it was an interesting idea for me of what if you had somebody like that who their safe space, which is the cocoon of their air studio where they do everything, what if that became like a prison in some respect? So that, it's what they most love, but it also becomes something that's holding them back and it becomes a trap. And so I think for several years, I sort of played around with different ways of attacking it. And I always had the idea of a serial killer visiting a female disc jockey as sort of the first step of it, but I could never get beyond that. And it really took probably till just about a year and a half ago when I was bouncing ideas around with my producer friend Corey Krinsky that we hit on, well, what if there's some horror aspect to this? What if the station was on top of something that caused human beings to become cannibalistic and attacking, and what if that became the second half of the story? So it really took that kind of ingredient, the zombie sort of uprising part of it, to turn it into a feature for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the first thing that I'll say is that I purposely didn't watch any of the trailers for this. I knew Ashley was doing this. I
Yeah,
followed the marketing and everything. I purposely did not watch the trailers because I like to be surprised. Now, the thing that I do respect about the indie realm is that usually indie filmmakers are more, aware of what they want to showcase and what they don't want to showcase for spoiler
Yeah.
purposes. You kinda have more of
okay.
a say as the filmmaker, but, and that's I wasn't worried that I was gonna get spoiled, it's just that, I wanted to have, like, a genuine reaction, so, when I was watching this, I'm thinking, "Oh, John is just like, this is the serial killer,"
Yeah,
and, like, we're
yeah,
we're opening we're opening with his perspective because, like, I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute." But the poster has, like, all these, like, zombie arms and everything. I'm like,
yeah,
"Where the heck?" I'm like, "Where is this going?" It's like, so when the whole second part of the story started, I mean, I was just in awe as to, like, okay, now we have to connect with John, and all that stuff, and I thought that that was absolutely brilliant, like, to kinda have you, like, relate to someone where he's doing a horrific deed as soon as you see him, right?
yes, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so
I know
yeah.
we worked really closely, Ashley and Patrick, the actor who played John, to work on those transitions because they were both very aware of that. They're like, Chris, it looks like we're going from this and then we're shifting to this, and so we tried to work consciously on those transitions.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it works too. Like you've got John, and then you've got the fearless Lisa Richmond here, right? So that's who
Yes.
that that's who we've got on the show with us right now, guys. Ashlee Lawhorn herself, who plays Lisa Richmond in Airship. Ashley, tell us about your experience playing this character.
Oh my gosh, Braden, it was so much fun. Like, okay, so Chris reached out to me over social media and basically just asked, "Hey, I have this role. I think you'd be pretty good for it." And I had just gotten new headshots done, so I was like, "Yeah, baby, those new headshots were coming through." So he reached out, and it was because of the headshots, and ended up I just really loved the sides he sent me. Like I don't even think I saw the whole script. I just saw the couple of scenes and I loved it. I was like, I think I am more Lisa Richmond than Lisa Richmond is sometimes. Like I really felt like that character. And no, Chris just made it, him and the whole team made it such a good experience. Like with what he was saying with, my counterpart Patrick and we would read something in the script and Chris was so easygoing with like, hey, this doesn't quite make sense to me as the actor in the story. Like, could we adjust some things? Immediately, he was open to hearing it and was like, yeah, I think that would enhance the story. Or if it wasn't a good idea, he'd just say no. Or he would make us feel better and be like, you know what, we'll give it a try. And then if it didn't end up in the movie, at least, it was good. He didn't hurt
He's
our
like, you know
feelings.
what? Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea, but I like where your head's at, but we're
Yeah.
just not gonna go that way.
Exactly. It was
Right.
like the gentle parenting this way. And it worked
Yeah.
so well though, because like we fell right into it and it ended up being really good and what we wanted. So it was overall just an awesome experience. And being in such a
Good.
small space too, we had to get close. So it ended up being like just such a tight knit group.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of that, so Chris,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your background. Like, how did you end up getting into film,
Yeah.
and all that stuff? Like, I'm curious, genuinely.
Yeah, so as my sister Elizabeth Maes, who I think is on this live stream, can probably attest, when I was a teenager, I just tormented my younger sisters into being actors in zombie movies that I was making, shooting on Super 8. And thankfully that evolved to a point where we moved to a different place and I got high school friends my own age to sort of act in films. But I ended up applying to UCLA Film School and thankfully got in and really learned a lot about editing, lighting, camera work. UCLA, the film department's right next to the theater arts school. So you have access to an enormous range of actors right there that you get to work with, which is amazing. So I learned a lot from that. I got into screenwriting. So professional screenwriting is what I did for about 6 years after I left school. And for a long time, I thought that's what I was going to do. That would be my profession, and really kind of gave up filmmaking, the idea of being a director or creating content. Just focused on screenwriting. And then my family got married, had kids. We moved to the East Coast. I worked for National Geographic TV, doing documentaries for like 6.5 years. And again, for a long time, I sort of, all the filmmakers' instincts in me were pushed to the background, raised 2 kids. They left home, went to college. And at that point, I'm like, I have some time on my hands, and there's a pandemic happening, and the studios are not making movies. I'm going to make a movie. I think it's possible to make a feature film for not $100,000, but a fraction of that. And so that's kind of what prompted me into getting started like 4 years ago.
Okay. Very nice. I mean, so you just recently started getting back into the creative filmmaking
I
realm.
think so. And what I sort of call
Okay.
it is being, I think it's important for independent filmmakers to try to explore this, is try to become a total filmmaker, not just a writer or a director. If you know something about editing or lighting or sound design, anything like that, acting, anything you can learn is going to make you better and more effective working with, even though you won't be doing those things necessarily yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. The more hats that you're allowed to wear, especially doing this independently, it's just gonna be quicker for you through the process. You're gonna be able to get
Yeah.
more done throughout the process, if you know little fragments like that. So that's really,
Really
really
well.
solid advice.
I want to even like
Uh,
piggyback off that for like an actor, even like on the
yeah,
acting
go
side.
ahead.
I
I was
yeah,
going to you next, so yeah.
I'm doing it. I love like asking like the gaffers and our just different people on set, the grips, even like what process they have with their job, the DPs. I always love asking those questions because like you're right, it only enhances and sharpens your skill set as a whole, especially you're working as a team and a unit on these sets. So it's like really insightful, I think, for everyone to know a little bit about every single job on set because for the actor, I mean, it can ultimately make us look better too if we know the camera angle and the lighting
Yeah.
and the sound
Yeah.
aspect of things. It helps with the entire performance to know a little bit about each thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely it does.
Mhm.
And I mean, Ashley, working with you in the past, I know that you're really good at asking questions and you like all the technical stuff. And Chris, I'm sure you could attest to the same thing. I'm sure that she was
Yeah.
asking you a lot of questions and all
Yeah.
that. And I do appreciate talent that does that because it shows me that they actively are engaged in the production. They care about the production because they
Yeah.
want to make sure that they're making sure everything looks good on their end too. And I'm like, obviously we're there, right, Chris, like as filmmakers to tell them,
Yeah.
but it's always great when your talent is like that. So that's fantastic. And Ashley, can you touch on a little bit as to how you broke into acting? Like what
Oh,
was the first thing that you did? Like what was your
yeah.
upbringing with this?
Dude, it has been a journey. So, like, I had my first acting class back when I was in like the ninth grade, maybe. And I ended up taking this class with a guy that was a little too rough around the edges for me at the time, with being like a new actor. I was in ninth grade. I needed like some coddling, I think, right off the rip. He didn't give it. So I got scared and I was like, okay, I'm done. This isn't for me. So I graduated college. I was doing my thing, working at a counseling center, and I just kept finding myself like wanting to go back to that, wanting to, at least learn a little bit about the craft and the skill. And maybe, I didn't know what the future was foreseeable in the future, but I knew that like I wanted to at least check it out. And so I just started taking classes and watching YouTube videos on it. And I mean, it was like I caught the bug immediately. After taking classes, I started connecting with people and you know me, I love meeting new people and like connecting and doing this stuff. So it was just awesome. They would see me in class and be like, hey, I have a project. You want to come jump in the project? And I would be like, yeah. So networking was huge when I first started. And the first feature that I did was actually called Summer of Sorrow. And it was about I think it was like in 2021 maybe. and it was my first lead in a feature, and I just know it was like a real true tragedy that had happened to this family, and I had to play like the matriarch of the family, and it was a pretty hefty role, and I just really appreciated them for giving me that, first experience, because once I did that, it was like the ball just kept rolling downhill, and I guess downhill, that's a quicker roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's a quicker roll. And
Yeah.
After that, dude, I've just been connecting with people and networking, and I think like social media is huge too. And now that I'm actually like getting these bigger roles and these, more complex roles with that, like I love posting it on social media and connecting with other people and like showing them, hey, I could do this, or if you have a project like that, I'd love to jump on and see what we can create together. And so far it's been a really big learning curve, but a great adventure, I'd say.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, you definitely stay busy. I feel like I always see at this point now you're like working on, you went from marketing this to now like you're posting other stuff that you're working on. I mean, you're definitely staying busy, which is always good. Like as an actor, you want to be
Oh my
busy, and as a
gosh.
filmmaker, you want to constantly
Yeah.
be being busy and everything. So yeah, no, that's absolutely great. So Chris, I'm gonna go back to you here for this next question. So for you, what were you say the key elements in designing the film's visual or auditory style?
So,
Did you have like specifics that you were going for that you were really hoping to get? So talk a little bit about that.
yeah, I know that the movie is, although it's set in the present day, it is supposed to be a station that was last sort of decorated or designed in the late 1970s, early 1980s.
Hmm.
So early on, I had the idea that we're going to see paneling, we're going to see brown stained wood doors, and just stuff that would date it to that period. And um, I think that to use the word, that vibe is something that's near and dear to me, just because the glory days of FM radio are kind of behind us now. We don't really have long form FM stations where the DJs can play a whole album side and give their thoughts on it. But I really wanted to try to get to that. And I thought, well, maybe that's through Ashlee's character. If her father started the station and she sort of came on board as a kid and she's grown up with it, it's a way to explain why she's still sort of enamored with that idea. So I know that that was one of the ideas that I had in it. And I think as far as the probably the sort of the visual style, I love those grindhouse movies of the 70s, like Carrie and The Fury, which is both of those are, I think, are Brian De Palma movies. Halloween, the original Night of the Living Dead, which is sort of late 60s. But I really wanted that idea of just a verite feeling that you're kind of there while this stuff's happening. So I knew for a lot of the outside stuff with the zombies, we wanted to try to do either handheld or just, it's okay if it's a bumpy camera shot. It's like you're there among the zombies as a participant. And so I felt like that was definitely a sort of a style approach I wanted to go for with that. But as far as I think beyond that with the audio, whenever you do a horror movie, you're always keenly aware of how you're using sound, because the second you turn the sound off and then you add a little something, it's like there are ways you can really modulate what the audience is experiencing through the sound. So I have sound designed both movies, this one and the previous movie, Hemisphere. I generally hand it over to a mixer to blend everything together, but I love designing. There's something a lot of fun where you're like, where you have everything laid out. You just decide, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get her, and then I'm going to have a heartbeat. You figure all those things out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, the sound design is one of the things that caught my attention in this. Like, I think that the sound design is great.
Excellent.
And I was listening to it on my sound bar too. So, it's
Oh,
like I
good.
can
Okay.
hear, yeah, like I can hear a lot. That's how I like to watch movies, like especially because I like to hear. I'm a big sound guy as well because it's just
Yeah.
like audience will forgive a image that's out of focus or whatever, but if the movie sounds bad, you're
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
they'll shut it off, right? So,
Yep.
Right.
no, I mean, like, the sound design I think is great, and I mean, everything is clear. I could hear everything. I even at one point threw the movie on just to, like, hear it in my, headset too, and
Oh,
I mean,
good. All right.
yeah, I mean, just because it is indie, and I'm like, I'm just curious to see like how you did it. So it's really cool
The
to know that
I
you
do
did
want to
some
give
sound design
kudos
too.
to Studio Unknown, which is up in Baltimore, is a professional sound house. They do a lot of television shows.
Okay,
Thankfully, they
nice.
were willing to do the mix, and I know the mixer there. I worked with them on another project, so I knew if I gave it to him 75-80% of the way, he would carry it the rest and clean up anything that needed cleaning up. But yeah, it's one of the things that kind of any indie filmmaker, if you put a little extra time into it, you can use that aspect of filmmaking to touch, connect with your audience.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, absolutely. And again, I think kudos to you. You did a great job on that.
Thank you.
Ashley, so coming back to you now, with your background in, you wear many hats. You're a drummer, you
Yeah.
box, you've got improv experience and everything. So how do you think that these skills here influence or enrich your performance in this movie?
Oh my gosh, I think it helps in like every way. I always, when I talk to other actors, it seems like everyone that is an actor has so many side hobbies. And I think that that's amazing because whenever it comes to acting, I mean, you're storytelling. You have to step into these shoes, maybe of someone you've never walked that path before. So the more, I guess, experience you have in the world, the more, things you try to learn about or discover, like it always helps you because you can bring so much to even the most basic type of role if you've got like that kind of experience coming with it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'd say like all of it kind of helps just enhance. And I think it helps with my confidence as well in other ways because it's like if you're not doing so great at one thing, you're always sharpening the tool on other things. So it's easy to just jump over to something else really quick, make yourself feel a little bit better, and then go back to the thing you were struggling with and build up again. So it's nice
yeah.
to have those little getaway hobbies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that that's great. I mean, you could kind of wear all those hats and take the experience that to assist with it too. And but I mean,
Yeah.
you are great in the movie too. So
Thank you. Well, and honestly,
yeah,
a little smidge of it might be some ADHD. Like I just can't stop like doing more things. My brain won't shut down. So it's like, what's the next thing?
yeah, I can relate to that. Believe me. So.
Yeah. Just struggle.
Now, Chris, before I mean, I have to ask you this from the indie film perspective and otherwise I'll forget. So I got to ask it right now. So usually indie film, um, there's a creative, there's a creative process to it that, indie films tend to have and have to get around certain challenges. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you faced as the screenwriter, as the
Yeah.
director? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think for me, my biggest challenge is indecision. I will generally lock onto, while I'm making one movie, I'll lock onto what I want the next one to be. And I might write, in this case, I think I've written 3 scripts in the last, year since we started. And I don't want to do
Wow.
any of the 3. And then I have like 5 outlines for other things. And so if you asked me a week ago, I would have said, this is exactly the movie I'm making. And if you ask me today, I'm going to say probably a different one. There's a certain point where I'm in my head, I just am going through 8 or 10 ideas. And there's some point where I kind of weigh the pros and cons. And I'm like, this is the one I should put my money on. This is for whatever reason. I like the character. I think the story's unique. I think I can do something different with it.
Yeah.
Until I reach that point, it can be a little bit schizophrenic because I get frustrated, even with myself. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, why can't you decide? Just pick
Yeah.
anyone. But you
Mhm.
don't want to just pick anything. You want it to be the right sort of fit. So that's my own sort of personal challenge. I do think it's helpful to bounce ideas. Very helpful for me. I bounce them off my son or friends. What do you think of this? Would you be more inclined to see this type of movie or that type? And then they'll give you
Yeah.
feedback, which you can then sort of incorporate that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And was this all shot? Because it looks like that locations were very minimal, which is good. So, like where was this entire movie shot?
So I would say about 60% of it was shot in the basement of my home, which is the air studio, and there's sort of like a performer's area and like a lounge. That all was in my basement here, but then the
Really?
hallway of the radio station and the reception area was another location in Laurel, Maryland, about 35 miles away. And then there was yet another one where we used for the exterior of the radio station with the zombies in the parking lot at night. And that was another facility here in Fairfax. So there was about 40% of the movie not shot here and about 60% shot here on the premises.
Wow. I mean, well, that's incredible. So, like, I mean, yeah, because there's only like 4 or 5 locations total in the movie, really. I mean,
Yeah, it's something I try to do just to keep costs kind of in check as an independent filmmaker.
yeah,
I'll try to design a movie where I can build a set and control it. And
yeah,
I'm sure a therapist would have a field day analyzing that. But the idea is that if I can shoot 60% of the movie and get it in the can, then I'm like, okay, that's done. The rest will be, I'll delude myself a bit. The rest will be easy, and it never is. But, the idea is to try to accumulate something that you can control. So you're not, if you had to do the whole movie on location, feature film, I think it could be very costly, and you could go crazy trying to organize all of that. So some of it's just for sort of self-preservation purposes. I also have some carpentry skills, so I know how to build flats. So building an air studio and trying to make it look like a real FM air studio.
That was absolutely amazing. Like, Braden, you would walk down into this man's basement and it just felt like you transformed or like transported into this old rugged radio station. Everything worked. It was all like functional in the radio station studio. It was really cool. I had not seen anything like it. So the building design on that was awesome, Chris. Good job.
Thank you.
That's incredible. So how long did it take you to build that? Like, I mean, did you just do it on the fly, or did you?
So here's another thing. As part of the creative process, part of when I'm deciding on an idea, I'm usually building, and I'm like, what can I build? And I'll start building. Well, let's see. I bet I could build an air studio. That took about 4 months to build it with the walls and the door, and then I had somebody else dress it. But usually that's part of building my confidence for an idea. If I start building the set while I'm writing the script, somehow the two feed off each other. And at a certain point, I'm like, okay, we're going to do this one. I feel good about the studio. I believe it. I think I can make the drama play. So there's, I don't know if that's a typical way that other filmmakers work, but for me, I find that works, that you start building your sets or getting that kind of created. It helps you. And it, obviously, when you're casting and you can rehearse with the actors, it's helpful that way too.
Yeah, no, I mean, like with me, like I have no carpentry skills, so
okay, all right.
So I don't build my sets. I find sets that are done that are
hey, that's a totally
ready. Yeah,
that's a totally legitimate, perfect way to work.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, you know what? Whose house can I use for very low cost?
Yeah.
And, and Ashlee knows
friends
that too.
do I have?
Like, yeah, right.
No, there's obviously that's if I didn't have quite, I think in the first movie it was a space station. So it's like, well, I can't, I'm going to have to build that. And this one is a radio station. But at some point, I'm sure I'll just do a standard drama in a house and it'll be my house or a friend's or something.
Right. But I mean, that's also like part of keeping the cost down, and the fact that you're doing it yourself and everything is amazing. It's just you got to spend the money on the tools that you need, or if you already have
it does tend to be really not much money at all. The stuff that I get from Home Depot to build flats, and it's mostly labor, and you fit it in and around other things you're doing. But it does end up being probably the least expensive part of making a movie is building the sets. You might spend $500 or $600, and it's like, okay, well, now it's my set, my location. I don't pay location fees on top of that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So my next question is for both of you, like together. What was the collaboration process like for Airship? Like, how did you guys work together? How did you guys work with the other actors? I know that you guys also had Patrick Andrew Jones as
John.
I mean, he was. I mean, Ashlee, I thought that you two worked very well together, and he made me laugh quite a few times in this movie.
Yeah. Good. That's
more so than I thought he was going to, because like again, it's like you just think that he's going to be like, oh no, like again, I didn't know, and purposely I didn't know a whole lot about it going into it. So, and I feel like and I'm glad that I didn't. So if you guys don't know anything about this movie, it's on Prime now, right? I think you can
Yes, it's
get it
on
on
Amazon
Prime. Yeah.
Prime. Yeah.
So you guys can go to Amazon Prime, watch the movie, and obviously support it because it deserves all the support that it can get. And I mean, it's genuinely a good time if you know nothing about it. So
Okay, good. I think so
but
as well. Yeah.
but yeah, talk a little bit about the collaboration process between the director and the actors, and I want to hear from both of you.
Yeah.
I would say quickly, I don't want to dominate this, Ashlee, but I think for me, once I cast it, I feel like that point is I'm getting a physical read on who I believe is the character visually, and then how well they seem to take direction, even during the casting sessions. If I say, "Can you play this bigger? Can you bring it down? Can you play?" And I'll try to sort of feel out how they are at taking my direction that way. But I think when I meet them for the first time, like in Ashlee and Patrick's case, it was 2 days before we were going to start shooting. They both arrived from out of town. So there wasn't a lot of time to sort of get to know each other. It's sort of like speed dating, it's like, okay, let's go. But by that point, I really trust them. We did a table read through Zoom where we read through the whole script, the whole cast. And from that, I knew these guys, they understand these characters, and they have a firm hand on what they're doing. So I didn't go into meeting them with any apprehensions. I felt like it's going to be for me to answer questions for them. So I try to be available. I don't tend to have a strong, unless, if somebody's totally confused about what they're doing, I can get into it. But most of the time it's, can I help you clarify anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ashlee, what about you?
No, it was a great process. Working with Chris was really easy, I would say, for an actor, because he had this idea in his brain and he was able to relay that idea very easily in, I think, even the audition setting. I think I auditioned like 5 times for this role with different people. I did like several different chemistry tests, and at one point I even said, like, he either thinks I'm really good or I'm really bad, and he's just testing me out that much, where it's like, keep going. So it was a blast, though, because I got to meet a lot of really cool people. But on set, collaborating was great. He was so open again to hearing any thoughts that I had, opinions on the script. If something, there was at one point, I remember a challenge for me is taking time for myself on set. A lot of times I am a little too giving, I think, with my time or with my energy. And at one point, because it's such a small space, it's just a basement for the most part, I told Chris and just went up to him and was like, hey, I need like a beat. I'm a little overwhelmed. There's a lot going on, and I just need to like mentally run through my scene really quick. And he was so just giving with that and was like, you know what? No, yeah, go take your time, get out of this area, go, take a beat and come back when you need it. And I was like, I did not want to be one of those drama queens. And thankfully he did not make me feel like one at all. So that was
I was going to say it was a little, almost by design, her character is in charge of the air studio. And so Ashlee, as an actress, is sort of in charge of the set. She's the focal point. So it became very convenient to be like, okay, great, we got this shot. Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. And it was really her saying, hey, can I just get some water and walk outside and, walk around the block?
Yeah.
That stuff it's really important to do because ultimately you have to make the actors comfortable.
Yeah, and you totally did, because that was like a boundary issue for me. I didn't, think, hey, Ashlee, you've done like monologue after monologue after monologue in different scenes, like back to back to back, because there was a lot of just Lisa by herself in this too, on the radio. And so, it was needed, and you made me feel so safe and just so secure, and it was a fun set. I mean, we really just joked around a lot. It was great. It was hardworking, work hard, play hard is my thing. I love it. So you did a great job with that, Chris.
No, that's awesome. I got a question from one of our audience members here, Ashton, asking, what was the most fun and the most challenging thing to film on set?
Ooh.
Wow. I think the most fun for me was Ashlee confronting the zombie who gets into the air studio where she has to conquer it. just the most fun because I had storyboarded it out and I sort of knew how I hoped we could shoot it. And then when we got those shots and and I finally saw how it was edited together, I thought this is satisfying because that's what I was hoping that part of the movie would feel like.
Chris, that was actually, I'm going to piggyback off you. That was my favorite part too to film. Yeah, I loved that. And Braden can attest. Anything physical on set, like whether it's
that's true. Yeah, she's all up for it. Yeah,
I love it. And so that was just stabbing a zombie like that was pretty fun. It was a good time.
The most challenging for me was the nighttime shoot with zombies outside the station, just because it's a night shoot. You have to bring lights in. You don't have a lot of time. You're coordinating a lot of people. And so we ended up shooting all the shots. We lit one way, shot everything from one direction. I had to keep track of all those. Then we flipped and shot everything from the other direction. So it was a little chaotic that way, but it was very much a run and gun, like boom, 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 So the speed, I'm an impatient person. I don't think I would do well on a set where you shoot 3 pages a day. I know some of my Hollywood counterparts will be like, we did really well. We shot 4 pages. And I'm like, I want to shoot twice that amount if possible. I think I get, my sort of ADD is I want to keep moving at a certain pace. That's creatively sort of where my head's at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's that's great because that's going to keep everything moving. And how long did it take you guys to film this, if you don't mind me asking?
So it was 10 total shoot days spread between, I think we wrapped like March 30th. We started shooting December 16th or something. We shot for a week in December, the end of last year, because I was sort of determined that we're going to shoot something at the end of 2024. I had that in my head. And then we finished everything up in 2 other shoots and finished up by end of March.
Oh, okay. Very nice. And so, Ashlee, did you just travel back and forth to...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is it Virginia?
Virginia.
Or Maryland? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Virginia, did you just travel back and forth to Virginia?
I did. Yeah. I got very familiar with the road system going there. I the landscapes. I'd be like, oh, I've passed that before. Oh, I know where I'm at. I'm 3 hours out. Or I'd be like going through like that. But yeah, it was so much fun.
Drove.
I did. I drove. I might have gotten. I didn't tell you, Chris. I might have gotten like 1 speeding ticket at one point.
Really? Ouch.
It was nailed to me. I didn't.
It's a learning thing for me that I had not worked with out-of-town actors before, and I think I went into this saying we're going to shoot in December and then we'll do another date in the new year in 2025, and that ended up being a total of 2 other days where I needed both actors. So it was a bit of a challenge, coordinating that with Ashlee's schedule, making sure she had time to commute from there to here and time to recover too. It isn't like you drive and go to the set. You have to get there the day before and sort of get settled.
Yeah, it was honestly, it felt like a small challenge, like driving that far and then the next day, like jumping into it. But I think why the second time we met up to film a different portion of it, I was kind of used to it. I was ready, mentally prepared. I knew what was, I had to be ready.
Yeah.
So it kind of helped to have that mental preparation, I guess.
I'm sorry if you said it and I missed it. How far is the drive for you?
Oh man, I think
is it like 6 hours or something?
Yeah, I think so. Chicago and where you live, Chris, are actually like very similar to me in drive.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Wow, so you drive, you do the drives like all over the place?
I don't know. I think on the next time I work with Ashlee, we'll probably have to spring for airfare. I don't think I would do that again. I think it was like, okay, I have that experience. I don't think I would ask an actor to do that again, another time.
It was really fun. I do enjoy a good road trip. I like jam out the whole time, call friends I haven't talked to in a while, so it's good.
Yeah. No, good. Yeah. I mean, because I know that you drove to the shoot with us too, and it's like I know that I'm like, I'm like, you drove, like that's nuts. So
I did. I'm everywhere, man. Me and my little Buick Regal, we travel.
We got a question here for Ashlee and Chris. Ashlee, what type of movies and genres do you want to dominate as you grow? Chris, which films would you like to write and direct, whether it be original or current?
Oh my
Yeah, you
goodness.
go first, Ashlee.
All right. Dominate. I don't know about dominating.
She should dominate. I'm going to speak for her. Ashlee should dominate as I think she is Final Girl 2025, based on her work in Airshift.
I would love to do final girl roles. I love that. I was actually gonna say horror and comedy are like my two favorite genres, and I love exploring both of those whenever those genres mix. I love that even more because I can always watch. It's like Zombieland or something like that. Like you watch it and it's just so funny and it gives you exactly what you want, kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say anything in that realm. Or I would love to even do some action stuff, you know, put some physicality to a role, like even more so than I have yet. And yeah, just see kind of what it brings, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as far as films I'd like to write and direct, you know, right now I'm kind of focused on original material, not like based on a novel or something. I'm very hung up on trying to do some type of movie about extrasensory perception and UFOs. And anyone that knows me knows I've been obsessed with that since for many, many years. And at some point I'll have to do it just so I can kind of go to my grave knowing, look, this is my contribution. Short of that, I'd love to do a straight drama. I think the challenge of that, to do a story with a couple, you know, a true drama in real time with a couple characters and not using a lot of guns, knives, blood, zombies, etc., as sort of gimmicks. I think that would be, I would learn a lot from doing that about how deep can you go into a drama, you know, and emotionally, how far can you go to really build a story for an audience?
Yeah. And I mean, really, when you look at from an indie perspective, the easiest, you know, I say easiest just with the mega quote because
Yeah,
it's not easy at all. But like I just mean like the most versatile type of movies that you can do as an independent is horror because those are usually made for pretty cheap. And drama, really. I mean, you could do a drama in one location, like
right.
for 90 minutes if you wanted to, with two people in a room, and they can
Yeah,
be, you know, it could be two friends that are long lost, and they're just conversating for 90 minutes. And if you make it interesting enough, people will watch it. But and then you know that's the thing about Airshift too is that you know, Lisa is in the studio. Ashley, you pointed that out earlier that she's in the studio by herself for really the beginning of the movie. It's
yeah,
like us kind of getting to know Lisa. She clearly has a rocky relationship with, you know, her boyfriend, and he ends up leaving. And I love that phone call, like, you know, uh, you're on the phone, and you're like, seriously, like, you know, but it's like, yeah, like you
you
let
know
them know
that all
you
came from
know,
Ashlee. It wasn't in the script that way. In the script, I think she just saw that he had moved out, and that was the end of the scene. And then when I got
yeah,
to know Ashlee, I'm like, you know, I bet Ashlee would have something to say if we wrote some dialogue. I bet she could make that work. So
yeah, but it's like, seriously, like, no, like, I mean, at least call, right? Like, you
yeah,
know, leave a
yeah,
note,
exactly,
No.
exactly. Yeah, the coward's
so
approach to leaving a relationship.
yeah, exactly. Got another question here in the chat. How did you handle the accommodations for out of town actors?
So we largely leave that to them, but we'll offer a stipend. You know, I'll say,
Oh,
hey, Ashlee, we can afford to pay you this much per night or something, you know, for the nights that you're here shooting. It normally doesn't cover the whole cost of a hotel stay for them. In Ashlee's case, I think you had some discounts or something you were able to call in.
Yeah. No, I stayed with Alex Deal, his family. He was the guy that played Dwight, actually my boss. I'd worked with him on another project, Hello, It's Me, and he was the antagonist in that. And so him and I had gotten pretty close, and he was like, yeah, just stay with my family. So I crashed with his family for like a week, and they were just so nice, and it was such a great place to stay. So I'm still grateful to them. I owe them to this day.
I usually will say when we're posting for actors I think it's through Breakdown Express, I'll say must be local or must be able to work as a local. But you know, if you meet the right person and they happen to live out of town, you'd be sort of an idiot not to say, well, maybe we'll put in some small amount to compensate them for, the fact that they're traveling here, if you really want that actor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think that Ashlee, was great for this role, and you seem to connect with Lisa as a character. So, speaking of which, when you read this script, Ashlee, talk a little bit about, like kind of like what got you excited about Lisa. I know that you said that you felt that you could like that you knew her or that you were her more than she
Yeah,
was written, right? So talk
exactly.
a little bit about that if you could.
Yeah. No, she just reading about the character and even her description and breakdown, she's somebody that was very tomboyish, very rough around the edges, and just stood up for what she believed in. Her passion and determination, and the fact that she was so determined to be good at something that she loved and really just pursued it with her whole heart, and was a very loyal person to what she loved. And so I think I just loved that, and I loved that she wasn't perfect either. She had quite a few flaws, and it's evident when you watch till the end of the movie that she's got some screws loose, I think, too, maybe.
Yeah.
And everyone will know what I'm talking about if they watch. But it was just really fun. Like, I think in one of the scenes he sent me, I picked up on, like, she was eating junk food in the radio station, and for my audition, I made sure I had a Slim Jim. I had like some pop. It was like a little messy. And I just made sure like I really lived in that character. And it was really kind of easy because I really could relate to her a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, like it was as if you were Lisa. Like I'm watching the movie and having the conversations that I've had with you. I'm like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
good. Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this is totally a role that Ashlee, I'm sure she saw the script and was like, oh hell yeah, like I
Yeah,
want to do
exactly.
this.
Like right up my alley. I mean, even like the flipping off her manager right as he walks out, like I love that.
Yeah.
Like that aspect of the script and who my character is, and just
Yeah.
I know we routed the audio from her mic into her headphones and the music, so she could actually hear herself. So that mic was actually live. That was her primary production mic, the Air Studio mic, so that we had our audio mixer. Nick, I said, can you rig this from the mixer board so you pull it in? And I thought that was important because I thought, if you ever have been on the radio or even what you're doing now, you have headphones on, you hear how you sound, and it's a different sort of feel than if you're just talking, openly otherwise. So I thought that will help Ashlee connect with how she sounds and modulate her voice. And she got it very, very quickly. Again, we only had 2 days of rehearsing before we started shooting, but she immediately got, oh, okay, this is what it sounds like. And when you relax, your voice sounds different.
Which that was also another layer to it. Chris let me like play in the studio for the first couple of days while we were just there rehearsing and stuff. So I really got to play around with everything, get comfortable. I think that's huge, is to be comfortable in the space you're working in, because you want it to look authentic and like you've been there 1,000 times.
Exactly.
So it was really helpful to get to know my area and, like he said earlier, claim that space. And I kind of feel like I did a little bit. It felt like my own space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I feel I know the answer to this question, but just tell everyone that's listening or watching, do you like doing your own stunt work?
I love doing my own stunts. I love it. And actually, Sean Groves is the one that kind of helped me get more familiar with doing stunts, because I feel like now I've worked on a few productions with him, with you as well, Braden, and Chad. And so Chad knows well too. He knows I love doing my own stunts. It's fun. Anything physical that can because acting is really emotionally taxing. So for me, I'm like, when I can break up the monotony of emotions and just do something physical on set, I'm all for it. I'm like, let's mix it up a little bit.
I think one of my favorite behind the scenes shots that we have, and Chris, I'm sure that you have a variety of behind the scenes pictures and videos and stuff, but one of my favorites of Ashlee's is we have one of Chad plays Michael Myers in
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so one of my favorite shots that we have is literally him like lifting Ashlee up and like throwing her on the ground. And it's like, we have a shot like midway as she's like in the
really?
air.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Yes.
it just looks like that he's like tossing her. Like
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
awesome. So
literally. And
it's one of my favorite pictures that we have for sure
me
from
too.
that production.
I love that. That's still one of my favorite action shots I've gotten because Chad's like 6'5", and so
Yeah,
Sean
he's
was
tall,
like,
yeah.
he's so tall, and Sean was like, okay, I want you to just jump as high as you can. I can't jump for one, so Chad definitely had to use a little bit of muscle there, but it was
Yeah.
so much fun to just explore and play like a kid. Like I feel like when you do action scenes and stunts, you're kind of playing like a kid with safety guidelines.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it feels like. But yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Question for both of you here. If there's one thing that you can go back and start the project from scratch, is there anything that you'd do differently? And Chris, I'll start with you as the writer director.
Boy, that's a great question. Anything I would do differently? I probably would have prepared my family, my wife, a little more completely about what is involved with this, because in my mind, it's like it's only going to take 10 days. But if you spread that over time, it's like, and then I'm going to be driving to Maryland and driving here and building stuff and working, storing props and things here. I think that was something I would spend more time, sort of in greasing the wheels that way. Creatively, I can't think of anything that I would change, except maybe having a little more time at night. If I did it again, maybe I would book 2 night shoots, and budget accordingly and have a little more time with the zombies. That sounds like a really strange thing, but I felt like we were rushing at times. And I'm like, there's stuff that in my mind I would have spent more time with the interactions between John and the zombies, because certainly there was more sort of detail in what I originally envisioned.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's all wise stuff, I'd say. I mean, 10 nights to get a feature done, or just 10 days in general. Because like when you guys were filming, were you guys doing day and night? So like 10 days and nights? Like
Not really. I have a philosophy, which is don't abuse your crew and your actors. So we try to do like a 10-hour shoot day. I think once or twice we went to 12 hours. That time when we were at Divergent, Ashlee, where you and Patrick did the underground scene, that was a long day.
Well, and I was glad you were flexible with making it longer, because a lot of times I think for the talent, for the actors, like sometimes it helps with the rhythm just to keep going. If we need to get the shot, we want to get the shot. So it was.
But I try to, if I can do 8 pages a day, that's what I aim for. And they'll be like, well, 8 times 10 is 80. That's 80 minutes. That's almost the movie. And then I need some, B-roll and other stuff that I'll pick up later, either with myself or with, I think Donald M. and I did stuff driving in the truck with, when John's driving on the road at night, that was just us without him there. So I'll try to sort of, put that over. But I think from a budget standpoint, that's where the sort of 10 to 12 days fits in. I'd love to do longer, but, I'm trying to be mindful of the economics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree to this comment 100%. Making movies is a great way to lose weight. I agree.
Oh my God. Wait, did somebody say that?
Yeah, right here.
I lost, so I'm not, I don't think I'm a heavy set person, but I went from 172 to 154 pounds. That December shoot that we did, when we wrapped at the end of the 5 days, I was like, holy, I've not weighed like this since high school. And I was like, this is dangerous. You need to eat. And I think I had some huge pasta dinner that night. But the anxiety for me is I just dropped weight like crazy. So I totally agree.
Yeah, and I saw that comment and I'm like, from like, one writer director to another, it's like, I mean, I feel like I lose so much weight because it's like, I don't like when I'm not shooting, I'm either prepping for the next day or I'm trying to rest. I'm not really thinking about working out while doing a film, right? So I try to, when we're on, like when we're in a town that has a gym, I try to go, but I mean, no, like usually I lose a lot of weight just like walking around, like, and lifting stuff and helping the crew and all that stuff. So and I'm sure you're the same way. So it must
be like a huge calorie burn. If they hooked a device up to a director, an indie film director, you'd probably see like the calorie burn spike liking in some weird way, because you're working mentally, physically. The end of the day, I'm sure you guys have all experienced this. Your legs are like rubber, and you're like, I need some aspirin and just to get off my feet and just sit on a couch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, like it's just a great way to also, I agree with Variety Reel here too. Like it says that, it keeps the mind young, creative and healthy. And that's what we love about this is it's creative, right? Like I mean, that's like the down and dirty of it is just you get a chance to be creative and create something. And I mean, I really do. I had a ton of fun with this movie. Like, I mean,
It
I
is
can't.
probably I would say the most fun that I've had in life is directing movies. It is this strange thing of it's the complete unknown. You don't know how you're going to get there, and it's a wing and a prayer, and you hope the universe is on your side. And I say a prayer every day. I'm like, please let things go my way today, or let a few of things go my way.
Yeah.
But there's something about it's a great metaphor for life, which is nobody knows what lies ahead, so you have to sort of seize each day and try to turn it into something that you think is interesting.
So the way that the movie ends, and I'm not going to spoil it directly, I again encourage everybody to go check it out. The way that the movie ends, is there room for more to come because of like the call that Lisa ends up getting? Is there more to
There's
potentially
definitely
come? Or
room. I'm sort of waiting to see how the movie performs, but it
yeah,
was left, it was sort of designed with a little bit of an open end, with the journalist contacting her, and the, just the fate of what she does, the action she takes,
yeah,
essentially takes what was underneath the station and releases it up into the atmosphere. And as somebody pointed out to me, I think my visual effects guy who helped us with that scene, Peter Matson,
yeah,
said, "Where does it go, Chris?" And I said, "That's a great question, Peter. I think it comes back to Earth after a week or so. I think if you make airborne nuclear materials, they're going to come back down somewhere." So that sort of got me thinking about what would a sequel involve.
yeah. I mean, well, again, that's kind of like my favorite part about this movie is that like I thought that it was going one full direction and that it was essentially going to be Lisa up against this serial killer for
Yeah.
the duration. Because like again, I'm like, well, then where does the zombies come in? I'm like, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And then as the plot progresses, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then it's almost like you kind of side with the serial killer as well. Like, that's
That was the hope. I don't know. That was the question at the table read. Ashlee and Patrick said, "Hey, is that what you intend?" And I said, "Yeah, as a writer, that's what I was going for. Does that make any sense, you guys?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." And they were both on board with let's do it 100%. Let's not waffle. Let's be like these two sort of become confederates in a way, comrades.
yeah,
The most unlikely alliance that you could think of, but then circumstances shift, and now they are
yeah.
sort of like, let's work together and defeat this outside, menace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you know what you want to know what's so funny to me is that it's like this is a serial killer that is after women and Lisa is a woman, right? And it's like at first you think kind of like what the intentions are when he arrives to this radio station,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like my question is kind of like John, when does he kind of mentally be like instead of because he could have just left her to
He could
die,
have.
right? It's
Yeah.
like so, but like that's what I mean. It's like, but now it's like they're all working together. It's like, does he kind of rely on her? Does he think that maybe he has a better shot with more individuals involved and everything? Kind of like the one character where she's like well, I think that I would survive. I like my odds with you guys,
Sophie.
and
Yeah.
Oh
then
yeah,
Lee,
yes.
yeah,
He doesn't
Sophie,
have the
yeah,
faith.
thank you.
Sophie.
I
Yeah,
always had in mind, I don't know if this comes through. I always had in mind that he really had a thing for Lisa. There really was a connection.
okay,
And at a certain
okay,
point, he still feels that. She may not for him, but I think when he notices
right,
zombies near his truck and he's telling her, "I'm going to go out and I'll come back." At that point, my thought was always, he likes her. He thinks maybe she's his soulmate. And so in his mind, he might be thinking, I'm going to go deal with the zombie thing, but then I'm going to come back and we're going to continue our relationship. So that was my intention. I have no idea if that's credible for an audience or not, but that was what went into it.
I was gonna say Lisa very much could have just locked him out too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that would have been it. So it's like,
Yeah.
so
Funny.
in a way, yeah, like the way that I was like kind of like seeing it, and that was kind of like bringing my questions as I'm just kind of watching the movie. I mean, they're all good questions, I'm sure. That it's like, okay, so Lisa clearly kind of might like him too. I mean, she just got out of this relationship. She's a little bit nervous as, like when he's around and everything. So there's that. And yeah, I just think that it's hilarious. Sophie's line, like when she's like, I like my odds better with you guys. And then Lisa's like, he's a serial killer, right? Oh, I don't like then why am I like, oh, why am I going with you guys then? Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, this is stupid.
yeah.
What am I doing?
I mean, I think part of it was too, for Lisa's character, that there's too many things sort of piled on one another. Like if it was just her and a serial killer, she probably would be, as you pointed out, thinking, how do I knock him out? How do I get past him?
Yeah.
And the second is sort of like, there's some zombie thing going on. And it's like, now there's more for her to sort of sort out. I think my thought was always, she's like trying to figure out stuff. And then when things get settled, then maybe she'll deal with, if he's still here, I'm going to hit him in the head and get out. Maybe that we missed an opportunity. Maybe later we should have had her elbow him or something. But but my thought was always, she was at a certain point, they're both sort of consumed with this weird situation happening, taking shape outside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just also, it was refreshing to kind of see a movie where you kind of connect with this psychopath. Like,
I did think that was probably not something you would see often. The trope is, that's the evil guy you must destroy. And I thought, well, it would be, if I don't alienate people, it's being a little bit flip about, I don't mean to, make small or light of serial killers, which is a terrible thing. But I thought that's a stretch. Talk about a dramatic arc. He goes from being Matt to being sort of like a buddy with her, and they're thinking together, how do we do this? How are we going to get past these things? So it seemed like an interesting sort of wrench to throw into the agenda of a serial killer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashlee, sorry, did you have some thoughts too on that?
I was just going to say, with locking the door, my cousin messaged me and she was like, I actually yelled at my TV, lock him out, lock the door at one of the points. And I was like, that's a good point. But I was like, Lisa, my take on it, Chris, kind of aligns with yours, is like, I think you did a beautiful job with your writing, and the way that it does flip, it doesn't feel like super unnatural or inauthentic. I feel like it's like, okay, now these two people that are complete polar opposites, like on the outside, are having to work together. They are pinned to work together because they have no other way but to. And John is already a psychopath, so yeah, he was just obsessed, I think, from the get-go and wanted to be back in there with Lisa and just figure it all out,
Yeah, and can I say something here too? It's like I know that like when a movie gets done, like the filmmakers seeing how audiences react to it and everything is incredible. So and Ashlee, I've seen you sharing on your Instagram stories and social media stories, like people watching it. I mean, Chris, from both of you really, like from the actress and from the writer director perspective, just how does that make you feel, like seeing that people are reacting to it and sharing it and all that stuff? Just, I mean, can you describe that?
I mean, I think if it's so far, I'm going to be cautious about it because the movie's just been out for 8 days now, so it's still early in the release. It seems like people are getting what we were going for tone-wise, which was the biggest thing I was sort of like taking a risk on. When you make an indie film, you're your own studio. So you don't have a department evaluating if this will be a successful movie to a green light or not. You do it. So in that respect, it was me gambling on, will this blend work of humor and horror and crime thriller? And so far, I'm optimistic that people seem to be getting that. And it's not a turnoff. It's not like somebody going, oh, I watched 30 minutes and then it sucked. And then, I'm not getting anything like that, thankfully. So that's a affirming for me, because I hope there's more room as we go forward telling stories, all of us, that there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. You can tell a love story a lot of different ways. And this is sort of my version of, not the healthiest love story in the world, but in a weird way, it's like these two have a lot in common. They're both shut-ins.
Yeah.
They're both, antisocial. She does something creative with herself and he does something self-destructive. But in a lot of ways, if they had met 3 years earlier, maybe they would be Mr. and Mrs. Lawhorn or whatever however you want to, So I feel like there's, people have all different reasons for getting in relationships, and who am I to judge,
Right. Yeah. No, that's perfectly said, I think. But I mean, that's great. Ashlee, what about you?
Yeah.
What have
Oh
you
my
taken
gosh.
from it?
I'm just like the overwhelming like gratefulness that I feel just to see like fellow friends. Like nobody has to go and pay and watch me on screen or watch this story, and just to see like my friends go out and do that, even, and just total strangers and congratulating me on the role. It's a really grateful feeling, because it's like, oh my God, people care enough to actually just go watch something I made, out of the blue one day, and something I really care about. So it means a lot to me. And yeah, I've gotten a really good feedback from it as well so far. And I'm somebody that likes to go back and watch my work, after I'm done, because I do a lot of self-learning and self-growth type stuff. So I feel like I can gain a lot from watching myself and seeing the things that I could do differently, or what I did really good at that I should keep doing in, different scenes or emotions and stuff. So overall, it's been really good. Yeah, just having that feedback's even been awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've seen, only really the feedback that you've posted and shared and everything. But I mean, it seems like it's getting some positive feedback and everything, which is amazing,
Yeah.
which is what you want. But any feedback's good feedback, right? Like that's how
Yes.
that's how we end up
It's
growing.
always helpful, because sometimes you have a hunch at something and someone will say, I was confused by why the character did this or this. So
Yeah, is there? I know that you guys kind of just answered this, but like, is there anything that's like surprising feedback that you got? Like, is there, like, have
I
you
did
seen like
from
a
a very
ridiculous
good,
take or something?
I got an unusual piece of feedback from a client of mine who watched it, and he said, I loved the first scene. I said, really? He said, yeah, I loved it. I've never seen that before. A serial killer, and without giving it away, that he has a conversation, and I thought that was so unique. And I said, well, what about the rest? And he's like, I'm not really a horror person. So anyway, I thought, well, that's different. I never would have guessed, scene one was it. And then he was sort of out after that. That's probably the surprising feedback. I think other than that, my son is very, very frank in talking to me, and he'll be like, Dad, you rely too much on this. You need to do straight drama without gimmicks, get really, really honest with the characters. He is probably the biggest person in my life, my son, Jack, who, incidentally, he's in the movie. He plays a criminal psychologist for a quick beat on the TV screen. But he is always kicking me in the ass to get to the honesty, Dad. Stop hiding, get it. Be real,
That's awesome.
And you, Ashlee?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I've gotten feedback from all walks of life, I think, from everything from the really good to the people that are just so analytical, where I even asked somebody, I was like, did you know what happened in the story? Did you watch the movie, or were you critiquing the movie, sir? And just a couple of things where it's like, it's an indie film, and you have to have expectations when you're going into it a little bit, of like, this isn't a huge budget that was produced with millions of dollars in Hollywood. And even they have, their own little minor errors and mistakes here and there. So that was one of the things where I asked the guy, I was like, dude, do you know what happened in the story? Can you recall? Yeah. But other than that, it's all been really good.
Yeah, and that's like kind of something that it's a fair question to ask. It's like, if you're gonna critique it and stuff, like, you're welcome to go out and try to do something yourself too. Like, so I mean like really just like, it's like the hate critique, like it's the hateful critique.
There'll be some
that's
where it's like they didn't like the acting, they didn't like the story, they didn't like the sets.
And that was this
Right.
guy.
Not
That's
new-
why I
not
was
new.
like, did you watch the movie or were you just really looking for stuff?
Well,
right
it's sort of like if that's your agenda, you can always watch a movie and
find anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. It's like, that's what I mean though. Like if you're, and
Mhm.
I am open to any and all kind of feedback, just make
Yeah.
it constructive, make it something that's
Exactly.
like that shows that, you actually paid attention to it and have actually
Mhm.
something to say. Not just this sucks. Period post.
Exactly.
It's
Like
like
knock you down a peg. It's like, okay,
yeah.
for what?
Exactly.
How can
Yeah,
I grow from
exactly.
this? Yeah.
No, yeah. And I want to be respectful of your guys' time now. I know that we've been streaming for a little over an hour, so I have two more questions here for you guys. And the first one is what advice would you both give to people that want to get into acting and or writing and directing? Ashlee, we'll start with you.
Yeah, no, my advice would be just to go for it, to start no matter what level you're at and where you're located. It doesn't matter. Just start, Go on YouTube and watch videos if there aren't any classes around you, or see if there are online classes, but just get into it. I think with anything in life, you don't know if you really like it until you do it. And then it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is for me or this isn't for me. But I am such an advocate for chase your dreams, because life is too short, and be open to feedback and criticism. A lot of it, when you're first starting, and you always get that, but be open to that and just keep going and have that blind faith in yourself, because without that blind faith, I don't think any of us would do what we do without, thinking that this is impactful and meaningful, and it's going to impact somebody else out there, and they're going to at least be entertained by what we do. So yeah, I would say just go for it and focus on yourself and your journey, not everyone else's journey. Because there are times where it might seem like you're so far behind, but you're really not. Everyone's on their own path, and it's like a roller coaster. This whole industry is. So give yourself grace. That'd be my advice.
Yeah. Great. That's great. Thank you, Ashlee.
Yeah.
I would say to the same question, or I guess as the writer-director side of it, my advice would be, as far as writing, try to find something that that maybe nobody else does, that you have experience with and have lived, so that you can write it honestly and add drama to it and twists and turns that other people wouldn't think of, because you're like, I worked in the news business. I know how journalists are on the air. I know how they behave when the camera's turned off and they're neurotic or whatever. So I'm going to stick that in my movie, because I know that's authentic, and probably the next person wouldn't see that. They would skip that, let's say. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably the key to good writing, is to try to draw whatever story you're telling, try to draw for things that you've experienced, and build those into your characters in some way. And as far as directing, I think it is its own thing. It is, I think a better word is almost filmmaking, because there are times when you're doing many things. You might be building a set, as I mentioned earlier, or writing, or casting, or working with, blocking with the actors, or meeting with your crew to figure that out, pre-lighting. All of that falls under the umbrella of directing, and it can all be a lot of fun, and you don't have to know it all. You don't have to know how to do all of it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of good reason, if you can get an idea that's really exciting to you and pull some of the elements together, try to get a script written yourself if you can do that. And then the other pieces, you'll bring people on to help you realize those, including the actors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one more thing, Chris, and this is just because I'm thinking about it as I'm like watching you give this response. Is that your headshot in the movie that they're
we have a lot. I play Lloyd Saberman, the station manager who chews Ashlee's character out on the air, and that is my headshot. That I told my actors, I said, look, how many film sets is your director going to let you throw darts at his face?
And your name in my phone is still Saberman, Chris. It hasn't changed, so it's still Lloyd Saberman in my phone. And a fun fact, I actually did hit the dartboard and his face sitting from the chair, and I am very proud of that. Yes. I'm really proud of that.
No, I think that's helpful. I would encourage any director, if you have a dartboard with your face on it, and let your cast, if you can be safe, I don't want
Yeah.
any injuries. It gives people, no, we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. So,
Yeah, right. No, that was awesome. I'm like, because I was just kind of getting all the details because you had sent me the press form and
oh,
everything.
right,
So
right,
I was
right.
like,
Okay.
I was reading
Yeah.
it. So I saw all the headshots, and as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, that's Chris. I'm like, that's
That
Chris's
looks like
headshot,
Chris.
isn't it? And then I'm like sitting here, and as soon as I saw Lloyd was calling, I'm like, this is probably going to be Chris, and sure as shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's great.
Chris.
I mean,
So,
I do like in
yeah.
some way putting myself in a movie. This is a perfect example of voice role
Yeah.
because they're better suited for me. But
Yeah, no, I mean it was awesome. So this is a great question here. Not sure if someone asked this yet. Where can I see your movies? So all your movies, anything that you've done, where can people
yeah,
see them?
so Airshift is on Amazon Prime now, probably through January, and then it'll go broader, probably to Tubi and other AVOD platforms. Hemisphere, which is the first feature film I wrote and directed, is also on Amazon Prime now and is on Tubi as well, and I think Google Play, and there's even a YouTube free movies AVOD channel that it's on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So go check out more of him and Ashlee. This is going to be a question for both of you. This is going to be the last question that I ask, and then if anyone else has questions in the chat, feel free to throw them in. We'll give these guys uh, maybe about 5-10 more minutes. But
All right.
what do you guys have up and coming here? Ashlee, I know that you're in Chicago right now shooting something. Not sure how much you could say about it. If you can, I know that there's secrecy and stuff like that in this industry. But what do you have up and coming that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so right now I am in Chicago. I'm in a hotel. If you can't, tell, I am. This is not my style. It's very, very corporate. So that's not necessarily me. But I'm filming a feature here in Chicago for the month of November, and it's called Vampire Wireless. And I play the lead that has moved back from Chicago to her small town in Indiana. And she is working at this mobile phone store called Joust Mobile. And basically, vampires show up, and she's entangled in this mess. There's a whole history behind the location and vampires, and it is a crazy ride as well. It is completely stupidly funny. It's a lot of dumb humor, I would say. And I say that with all due respect because that's my humor. So I'm like, right up my alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. And we start actually tomorrow is my first day of filming. So I'm excited.
Woo! Let's go.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you? What do you got up and coming, man?
So I am planning to shoot the next feature film this coming spring 2026. And what I'm preparing to do right now would be a story that involves a female psychic. I don't know if you know who Uri Geller is. He's an Israeli psychic in the 70s. He was tested in labs and in Northern California and around the world because of his ability to bend spoons and keys and do telepathy and all this. It's basically about a woman, mother, single mother, who finds that she has these abilities, goes to a researcher to sort of be cured of them, and it turns out there's some other force in the universe, I'll put it that way, that's behind these powers, and she sort of has a mission ahead of her. So we'll see how all this works out. I'm in the script writing phase now, but it's an idea that I've had that I've been wanting to do for some time.
So, Chris, you're definitely a big sci-fi kind of guy. Like, I
I
mean, that's
guess
kind of
so,
like,
you know?
it's like like your niche just seems to be very sci-fi, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, sci-fi is great. I'm actually in a sci-fi film class right now. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
this week has been very hectic because I'm wrapping up a film degree right now through ASU. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I've had papers like so my program exam, like my whole theory of everything is due tonight at midnight. So it's been,
wow. Okay, so we better wrap this up. If you need help writing it, send Ashlee, we can help you out.
So the paper is done. It's two different papers. One of them had to be historical, and naturally, I chose to write about Halloween. I'm like, if I can pick
Good.
a
That's a
film,
good choice.
if I
Yeah.
can pick a film to write about, I'm definitely going to do that because I'd written about Halloween for one other class during this program, and it was more so like a media class and like
Mhm.
what online presence Halloween has. Like on Facebook, I would talk about the Halloween fans group. It wasn't as theoretical into the movie as this paper is. So I'm like, okay, this one is very much like the history of the production, like how it really was a beacon for everything that followed it and everything.
Yeah.
So
That
that
Yeah.
sounds
that's what that one
fun.
is. And then the other paper is about a media platform, and I chose Letterboxd because it's becoming like an insane giant right
Right. Right.
now.
For film
So yeah, it's
criticism or
like
reviews.
yeah. So I mean, I have
I
both of
think
those.
the probably there's some part of me that I love the ordinary situation of people living lives, but there's some part of me that's like, and then this happens, you're living
Yeah.
your life going, you have your boring job, you're punching the
Mhm.
clock, whatever's going on, but
Yes.
then something happens to rip you out of that, and
Yes.
those tend to be the movies that I like the most that appeal to me on that level is, somebody sort of receives a calling to do something bigger,
Yeah.
but I also, I love, straight dramas. I love movies like Kramer versus Kramer and just stuff that's like, it's just an interpersonal drama. I see the value of that. I don't know if I'm mature enough yet. Maybe I will be to write and direct something like that, but I certainly appreciate them.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. That's great. I can't wait to see what you have up and coming. But like I said, sci-fi. If that's your thing, then it's your
Yeah.
thing. And again, it's not
Mhm.
a bad genre to have an
No,
interest.
no, no, no.
Because
It's one of the few where
yeah.
you don't have to answer the questions either. Someone said to me, the great thing about sci-fi is you can ask big, big uh, questions about existence and so forth, and you don't have to answer it. And it's the
Right.
only genre really that's like that. Everything else, the audience expects a pat answer and a resolution. And in sci-fi, you can be like, who knows what happens?
I mean, I honestly think that's why I love Jordan Peele's Nope. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys have seen that or not,
yeah,
but
it's
I
yeah,
so
mean
good.
that movie, like, I mean, because I don't think he's made a bad movie. Like, I mean, I still think Get Out is his best
yeah.
film,
Awesome
but
movie.
So
Yeah,
good too.
Nope. I mean, it was so awesome to see his concept of a UFO actually being the creature, the
yeah,
alien.
Yeah,
Is totally
so
different.
yeah,
It's like who like here I am thinking like, oh, like these are gonna be aliens that come down from this thing and
yeah.
mhm.
they're here
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
whatever. But no, like that was genuinely like I was like, oh my god, that is a completely awesome idea. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, my sister's boyfriend, like he's like, Nope is the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm like, the worst movie you've
no,
ever
no, no,
seen,
no.
dude. That's gotta be pushing it. There are plenty
Yeah,
of bad movies out there, and Nope is built like
100%.
No, it's
the look.
definitely an original idea and an
Yeah.
original way of treating
Yeah,
that than we've seen before.
Mhm.
exactly, like, the cinematography alone of that movie, like, the fact that most of those night shots are literally filmed during the day and they had
Yeah,
the technology to make it look like it was dark,
yeah.
it's unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very, very good movie in my opinion. Okay, so we have 2 more questions here. This is the last one for you, Chris, from Variety Reel. What is the most controversial theme you've considered exploring in a film, and what made you
Mm.
hesitant or eager
Oh,
to
that's
tackle?
interesting. So I actually, that's an easy one to answer. In the first movie I did, Hemisphere, there's actually a rape trauma component to the movie that surfaces late in the story. And there was something leading up to it where I had a moment with one character being attracted to another. And it was sort of like, a little bit of, I guess, what would be lesbianism. And I thought I really have to be careful how I tackle this because I have a sister who's gay and brother-in-law who's gay. And I thought I don't want to do something silly, but I want to believably address that attraction. And then later, the sort of rape trauma thing, it's like that's a whole triggering thing for a lot of the audience. You have to be
Yeah.
really, and so I did it. I did the scene. It's a long scene. It's a long talking. I guess you've seen the movie, Ashlee, right? There's a
Yeah.
monologue, and there's a flashback where you see what actually transpired. And
Mhm.
it's that's probably the most controversial thing I've tackled that I don't know if I would do that again, or it's a little bit, you don't have a net under you. It's like if you get it wrong, you could really piss people off because you're playing a little bit with fire, emotionally speaking.
Yeah, no, wow. So that's part of the theme in your first movie, like that's part of like the content that is within your first
It's
film?
just that something that happens, it's part of the plot toward the end of the movie, but it was, as I realized, again, you write something and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this. And then you're there with the actresses and you're like, okay, let's take a beat here. Let's talk about emotionally how we're going to approach doing this, because you're pushing people to, to enact something and to experience something really that, it's traumatic for an actor to dredge feelings like that up too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's definitely a heavy topic. I agree. And I still have to see your first movie, so I'll have to.
Yeah, check it out, especially if you like low budget sci-fi. It's a slow burn,
absolutely.
but
it's good.
Some interesting ideas in it.
I was gonna say, speaking of low budget sci-fi, I just watched the It Came from Outer Space last weekend.
Oh wow!
1953 film.
Wow.
Had to watch it for class, and I mean, so that was my first time seeing it, and I appreciated it a lot. Like,
yeah.
So, I thought it was great. And then last question for you here, Ashlee. If you could create a character that represents your biggest fear, what would they look like, and what challenges would they face? Now this is kind of like a 3-part question, but this is a good one. They're putting you on the spot.
Dang, I know, guys. Okay, cool. It's getting hot. No, I would say, okay, so my biggest fears, I am so afraid of heights, and I hate snakes, and because you just don't know. They're little slippery guys. They're just crazy. I don't trust them because they hide too. And one of my biggest fears is being chased by something. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's a person or if I feel like somebody's behind me walking, I will start walking faster. Like I can't. It's like one of those dreams where you walk really slow and you're trying to get away and run, but you can't. Like that freaks me out. So I would say, if I could represent a character like that, I mean, she would probably look like me, just regular old me in a movie. But she would definitely, I would want her to overcome those fears in a fun way, I guess. And snakes are just scary, and so are heights. Like I don't know. We're supposed to be on the ground.
So you need to have a scene with a snake chasing you.
I probably should have been on snakes on a plane. I should have been in that.
Right. Or the black mamba. They claim. I know this from Nat Geo. The black mamba snake, which is very poisonous in Africa, chases elephants and lions. It's not afraid of anything. So maybe you're chased by a black mamba.
The black mamba, the only experience I even have, I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, and in Kill Bill, the black mamba takes down the assassin gals, and oh my god, I love it, but God, snakes are just a no-go for me. In heights, it's nope.
Dude, it's like your response there is like me with spiders. I hate spiders. I cannot stand spiders. And I know spiders are a big part of Halloween, the decorations. I can do the decorations, man, but I mean anybody that watches like my show, they know that I talk constantly about how much I hate spiders.
So next time I'm on set with you, get some fake spiders, start putting them everywhere.
Nope, don't be doing that, because I'll run into something I shouldn't run into that's going to be expensive, and it's going to cost me a lot.
Oh God,
so, it's like no, but there's a game that like these streamers play, man, that now just always comes up on my feed. It's called Huntsman, and it's like they sit there and they go through, and it's like these spiders are like plopped on. They're gigantic. Like I mean, like bigger. Like I'm talking like
I can see like the fear on your face says it all, Braden. Dude, like they're ginormous spiders.
Their faces too, man. It's like they're walking and then they just stop and then their eyes kind of like shoot up. I'm like, that's how like. And I debate sometimes. I'm like, dare I stream that and play it? But you guys would see a whole different form of me, dude. Like I am a baby when it comes to spiders.
So funny.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, that's it. So but yeah, you guys have been so great, man. Thank you guys so much for coming on to the show. I hope that you guys had a fun time here
Yeah, this
talking
is
about
outstanding. This is
Dude, this
amazing.
was a
talking about
blast.
airship.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, like anytime that you guys want to come on, or if you guys have topics that you want to discuss, man, I am all ears to discuss. Chris, if you've got a sci-fi film coming up that you've got an idea for that you're like, I gotta discuss this, would love to have you back on too.
Oh,
It's
great. Awesome.
been
Okay.
outstanding. So
Absolutely.
um, but yeah, chat, you guys were great today too. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna be live again tomorrow. Gonna be talking about Scream 7. That's been a topic here online this week. So gonna be streaming and chatting a little bit about the trailer and giving some theories, all that stuff. Because if I get one more message asking, "Did you see the Scream 7 trailer you had uncovered?" I'm seriously like, I'm like, yes, I've seen the trailer. I shared the poster on social media. So,
Right.
it's like,
Yes.
but yeah,
Give
so I'm
the
going to be
people
on
what they want,
tomorrow.
Braden. Give them what they
So-
want.
right. So I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll do a whole stream dedicated to going through the trailer. I'm not going to do a reaction because, like, if you play the audio, like Scream is like one of those franchises, like where if like you even get like a little like wince of like the audio from the trailer, they're gonna
Mhm.
smack a copyright thing
Oh,
on your
oh,
video. Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Yes.
they're pretty notorious for doing stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be live tomorrow chatting about that. So if you guys want to chat about Scream 7 audience, you guys will catch me tomorrow. I think I'm doing it 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And then this upcoming week is going to be when the time zone I think it goes back. I think it's fall.
Fall
Yeah,
back.
fall
Yep.
backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
So,
tonight, right?
yeah.
That's tonight?
Yep. Oh
Okay.
That's
yeah.
tonight?
It's,
Awesome.
it's tonight.
I think
Yes.
it's
I was
tonight,
just
2
told that
a.m.
on my way here. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm like,
see,
thank God.
I'm already confused. Like, I'm already confused. I thought it was tomorrow night. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be going into Monday. So,
Oh,
okay.
okay. No, it's the Saturday 2 a.m. Sunday morning thing.
Oh, fantastic. See,
There
you
you
guys
go.
taught me something here today too. So, yeah,
Very
this has
good.
been yeah, this has been great. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you very
And
much, Braden.
I wish you guys luck. Ashlee, good luck with your film shoot. I hope it
Yeah.
goes absolutely great.
Thank
Chris,
you.
good luck with
I
your continued writing and everything. And yeah, guys, go watch and support Airshift. It's currently on Amazon Prime. You guys can
Yes.
go check it out, and it'll be on platforms. It seems like later on this year, but make sure that you guys follow Ashlee and Chris on social media. They'll be able. I'm going to put all their information in the description as well, so that way you guys can go follow. They will post wherever the movie is streaming and whatnot, so you guys can catch it somewhere. But go support it. It definitely does deserve the support. I had a great time with it. So
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Braden.
Braden. Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for checking it out.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on again. Chat, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we're gonna have some fun. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you
Thank you.
guys later.
You
Bye,
too.
guys.
Thanks very much.
Braden.
Bye-bye.
Bye.